Back-to-back sacks, and now they're staring at a 4th and long. Here's Mitch Wishnowsky now. Back deep, 2-time Pro Bowler Dante Hall. It's a 40-yard punt, 4 yards on the return. And the AFC will take over 1st and 10. So, Charles, as mentioned, we've got another Coach Madden over here on the AFC sideline. Of course, his Raiders, members of the AFC West. So this is a conference he battled in for his entire career. And you think about the landscape of the NFL as he was getting into the back half of his tenure. It was a golden era for coaches. You had Don Shula, Tom Landry, Chuck Noll, Bud Grant. But it was John Madden who had the best winning percentage of them all, CD. 759, the best ever.
Brandon, it's hard to believe he could be so successful in a conference with all those great teams. The Steelers won 4 Super Bowls. The Dolphins won 2 and were a mainstay in the playoffs. The Colts were tough. The Broncos came on late and went to a Super Bowl themselves. But against Hall of Fame coaches, John Madden's record, 36, 16, and 2. That's pretty incredible. His Raiders were a factor each and every year.
The last run got 3. Now here's 2nd and 7. They stay on the ground with Allen. And he is met in his tracks behind the line of scrimmage. Now they're staring at a 3rd and 8. That last play backwards a yard. So we're through 1 at the Coliseum in Oakland. 0-0 our score. This is the John Madden Legacy game on EA Sports. Up the middle they run with Bettis. And he's got the first down, yardage before being taken down at midfield. That's good for 9 yards as they convert on the 3rd down play. Now, Charles, you mentioned Coach was a 21st round draft pick back in 1958. It was the Philadelphia Eagles who selected him. But unfortunately for John, knee problems, they just continued to dog him. He was hurt in his first training camp, actually never saw the field as a player in the NFL. But it was still during his time with the Eagles, you and I were talking about this before going on air, that you could start to see the light bulb going on for what his career path might entail.
And it went on in a big way, didn't it? Because while he was rehabbing his knee, he started to spend a lot of time breaking down film with the Eagles with quarterback Norm Van Brocklin, the future Hall of Famer and future head coach in the NFL. Remember, Norm Van Brocklin coached with the Falcons. He coached with the Vikings. And was there during that time. I think Coach Madden realized his love of football and love for teaching, combining all that together, and that meant being a football coach. So in 1960, began his coaching career at a small college south of San Luis Obispo called Allen Hancock, and then later at San Diego State University under another legendary coach, the guy who could throw it around pretty well, Don Coryell.
Hey, we want to let you know, give you a fair warning that coming up at halftime, the folks at EA Sports have put together a very nice package in tribute to Coach Madden. So make sure you stick around for that. Again, coming up at halftime. And a little too much mustard on that one. It hits a couple yards into the end zone. A missed opportunity there maybe to pin them back. The NFC offense coming out here. And you know, Charles, Coach Madden always said that if he had one drive to win a game and he had to pick a quarterback, he would pick Kenny Stabler. But I think if you asked him to omit any of his Raiders players, there's a good chance the guy he'd select would be Brett Favre.
Brett Favre is always smiling. He's always laughing. He's always talking to someone. He remembers that it's a game. And if it's a game, you should have fun.
And Brandon, that always reminds me of a great movie line where one of the players was telling the coach, every time I say it's a game, you say it's a business. And every time I say it's a business, you say it's a game. With Coach, it was always a game.
And he's going to get 7 out of this before being taken down at the 27. But Charles, you know, it was in the early 1960s that a young John Madden made the acquaintance of the owner of the Oakland Raiders, one Al Davis, of course, and the two, they really bonded. would become one of the best owner-coach duos in NFL history. And to take it a step further, Al Davis became someone who John referred to as his best friend.
Yeah, in 1967, Brandon, Al Davis hired Coach Madden to be a linebackers coach. Remember, this was still the AFL at that point. We had not merged totally with the NFL. And Coach Madden, he paid dividends almost immediately. Helped the Raiders win the AFL title in 1968. And that meant a date with the Green Bay Packers in what was now known as Super Bowl II. But by 1969, at the age of 32, just 32, Brandon, John Madden assumed the mantle of head coach of the Oakland Raiders. And what a ride he, the Raiders, and the NFL were about to go on.
The threat of a second straight punt to start. The game is looming as they come up 3rd and 10. Man open, it's Kupp. He's got it. And he'll be out of bounds just shy of the 40. Charles, you talked about John Madden and the Raiders going on a ride. Well, try these numbers on for size. In 10 seasons as a head coach, the Raiders won their division 7 times. They finished second the other 3 times. And he became the youngest coach to amass 100 career regular season victories and is still, to this day, the franchise leader in wins.
And when you think about it,
and he's free going down the left side. It's a foot race. And all the way in for the touchdown. Jerry Rice, 42 yards, as his guys are first onto the scoreboard here this afternoon.
And that touchdown gives them a touchdown lead before they attempt the extra point. What a great way to end the half.
Yeah, great job to put themselves in front. And now, see on the sideline, special teams defense scrambling, saying we want to preserve this for the final moments of this second quarter. Extra point by Anderson, up and good. And that makes the score 7-0. Then drive goes 80 yards in 6 plays. And it's finished off by an NFC touchdown. This will be fielded inside the 5. And some good special teams coverage as they bring him down just outside of the 15. The offense for the AFC set to go now. And with him trailing, there is still enough time to try to string a few plays together, maybe get into field goal range. And he'll just push his way forward for a few as the clock will run. Call it a gain of 4 on first, and that'll make it 2nd down. They'll keep it on the ground again here. And they'll hit him for a loss as he's back to his 2-yard line. Now the NFC going to call the first of their 3 timeouts as they'll stop it with 14 seconds to go in this first half. They keep it on the ground. Allen again. Oh, and he's not going to make it out of the end zone. The push too strong, and that'll be a safety.
I have to think the sooner halftime can get here for them, the better, because that first half has been rough. And that safety, it only adds to their issues. The other sideline, though, I think they're fine if we just skip the break and keep playing.
And remember, following the safety, you give the football up as well, and they free kick it from the 20 now. On the return is Williams.
Any return that gets you to midfield is a great return. 1 first down, and you're almost in field goal position.
They start on the ground here at Sanders. And he'll be brought down, losing yardage back. Well, coming up in the second half, we'll run through John's post-coaching triumphs. But for now, we present a special tribute to the man of the hour, narrated by the Raiders' own Trey Mosley. The AFC going to get the football first here as we are back underway from Oakland in the John Madden Legacy game. Dante Hall going to bring it out of the end zone. And he doesn't even get this to the 10. He's taken down at the 9.
Anytime you feel the kickoff inside your own end zone, you've got to be decisive about whether you're bringing it out or not. Sometimes that indecision can really cost you. That may have been what happened on that play.
The AFC offense set to take their next drive. The drive starts with a run by Allen. And they're going to get him behind the line yet again as his nightmare afternoon continues. So now, Charles, to pick up the story we've been telling, John Madden at 42, he just completed a 10-year stint as the coach of the Raiders. He wants to step away a bit from the grind of coaching, but he doesn't want to step away from the game of football. So he ends up signing on with CBS in 1979 to try his hand at broadcasting. And much like his coaching career, he was pretty much an instant success.
Partner, he really connected with the people right from the start, and people may not remember. He was.
And can you believe it? It's a second safety in this ballgame.
That's exactly what they were aiming for defensively. A huge early play that cuts off any opposing momentum at the knees. As soon as that snap was made, they were flying to the ball and through the line. Great call from the coaching staff, and even better execution.
After the safety, remember, they also need to give up the football, and here's the free kick. That flag accepted, and it backs the offense up a little bit. Good starting field position for them as they come up 1st and 10, right at the 50-yard line. From the midfield stripe, they'll look to throw. And his throw's going to be incomplete. So for Coach Madden, Charles, by 1981, his broadcasting career is really taking off. He's elevated to the network's #1 booth that calls all the big matchups. And he gets the... There he goes, right side. Touchdown! Randy Moss, 50 yards. As his guys are able to push that lead out a bit further. Now to try to add the extra point, the lefty Anderson. And the lead is up to 18 now. Pretty clean and simple there. Just 2 plays. The long pass resulting in the touchdown on play number 2. Following the touchdown, here's Anderson to kick it away. Fields it right around the goal line. And a decent return out to the 27-yard line. The offense for the AFC set to go now. I kind of feel like they've reached a do-or-die point in this game, Charles. If they're going to try to pull off an impressive comeback, it has to start right here, right now.
Yeah, now they've got a final chance to get out of this situation, but they also understand they've got to move the ball and move it fast. In addition, they need to save as much time so they can get 2 more possessions.
Now a carry for Allen. That's going to go down as a loss of 5, and it brings up 3rd down. As you mentioned, CD, talking about John Madden, the broadcaster, he called 8 Super Bowls with Pat Summerall, 3 more with Al Michaels later in his career. He spent nearly 3 decades in the booth all told. And not only was he beloved for his mannerisms, we know that, but he was an innovator as well.
Yeah, Brandon, you're talking about things like the telestrator, which totally became identified with him, and now it's a staple for all analysts to have in the booth. And then you think about things like turducken on Thanksgiving, when he used words like boom and pow. He helped create the All-Madden team. He was a very popular commercial pitch man. And even the Madden Cruiser was unique, and you had to be someone to get a ride on it, too.
Well, pretty woeful there. Just 23 yards on the punt. And the NFC is going to have a short field as they take over 1st and 10. On the draw, here's Sanders. And he'll be brought down, losing yardage back at the 40. Now, CD, we did get a little ahead of ourselves talking about John Madden, the broadcaster in the 90s and 2000s, because there was another product during that time period that he became quite famous for, and it's something that you and I know a little bit about, and that's the video game that bears his name. Originally John Madden Football when it was first released back in the late 1980s, and now known the world over simply as Madden.
And Coach saw this originally as a way to teach the game of football. The early designs were for a 7-on-7 game, but he said no chance. He would not sign off on it. He wanted to be as realistic as possible. He told him, call me when it's 11-on-11, and he got his wish.
Yeah, after that debut, Madden the video game continued to pick up steam through the 90s in a big way, and John himself, many will remember, was a touchdown! An 18-yard touchdown grab as his guys have opened up a very comfortable lead. There are several elements to a well-executed screen pass. This one resulted in a touchdown. It had all of those elements.
Yeah, you're so right, because you really need the rush to almost get to the quarterback, almost get to the passer. Then you've got to get the ball thrown perfectly, whether it's to the running back, the wide receiver, whoever the screen guy is. And, of course, the blocking has to form in front to get him downfield for the touchdown.
Extra point by Anderson, up and good. And they open the lead up now to 25. Scoring summary, 3-play drive. And it's finished off by an NFC touchdown. This will be fielded inside the 5. And some good special teams coverage as they bring him down just outside of the 15. The AFC offense set to take their next drive. Well, it's been a struggle so far for this offense, Charles. It's not only that they haven't been able to put the points up, but really stringing yards together has been a real issue for them in this one.
I'm so glad you brought up the yardage, because I was thinking to myself, we've seen a lot of NFL games, and we've seen our share of lopsided contests, but in almost all of them, both offenses have put up at least 200 yards in a game, but not in this one. This has been a display of offense that, frankly, I think the two of us have watched from behind our hands, trying to spread our fingers wide enough to actually see the result.
And he'll lose yardage on this one, back to the 13. It'll wind up being a huge loss on the play, and that's going to bring up a second and forever. Chubb on the counter. And for the third time now, this is going to wind up a safety. Unbelievable. Things are just going from bad to worse now. It's a safety that does him in here, and that is one frustrated offensive unit.
They can't get out from under their own shadow right now. I mean, I know this is the NFL, but could you imagine a college crowd right now? Imagine what they'd be doing. They'd be chanting, "Start the bus," because they think this one is over.
Now the free kick comes after the safety from the 20 as they bring the punter on to try and get some hang time here. The offense for the NFC ready to get their next drive started. They've got to be feeling very comfortable and confident here with this lead in the football here in the fourth quarter, Charles. And I don't think that they need to score again, but it seems like this offense is just getting better as the game goes on. They've scored on their last 2 drives.
Certainly feels like a chance for them to continue to have some fun out there, doesn't it? Game's already decided, as you noted, so they can continue to play loose, break out some other concepts, maybe run a few trick plays, get other people, even go deep on one of these.
Second down, and back they go to Sanders. Call it a gain of 5 that time. They'll be left with a third down and about 9 to go. They'll come to the line here needing 9 yards to pick up the first. Now Favre. That's swung out wide to Sanders. And a loose football. And that's picked up by the AFC.
Well, maybe it hasn't exactly been a Rembrandt, but they've been mistake-free to this point and finally cough it up. I don't think it's going to cost them the game. They should be fine. But, boy, they're going to hate that going back and watching tape and being able to say we were that close to achieving our goal of 0 turnovers during the game.
A little blemish, but as you say, still comfortably in command. The offense for the AFC set to go now. Well, CD, it's all window dressing at this point. I mean, the best they can do is end the game with a nice drive to maybe build some momentum to move forward into their next contest.
Yeah, with how lopsided this game has been, even one score might not do a lot of cosmetic good on the scoreboard, partner, because it's just about looking forward at this point. Get a touchdown here, give yourself some positive momentum and reps to focus on when you get back to practice in the next couple of days.
And some secondary help here for the defense in the nickel on 3rd and long. Now Allen. And some space here. And he'll be brought down just shy of midfield at the 49-yard line. They'll get 19 out of this, but so it's a win here for the NFC. Just an incredible.